Hello and welcome everyone to The Difference Makers. I am so glad you are here today. I'm Lynn Sanders, your host, and we have a very exciting program for you. Before it starts, I'd like to invite all of you to put your name and where you're hanging out from in the comment stream on this page. If you're listening live, you're welcome to ask questions or make comments during the show, and we will acknowledge you as best we can. If you're watching the replay, you're still welcome to send us your name and what your thoughts are, because we'd love to hear from you. I want to first thank our wingman, Roland Takaoka, my dear friend, who's going to be monitoring the comment stream. And now I want to give you a little bio of our special guest. He's an internationally recognized healing expert. It's called Emotional Freedom Technique, and the nickname is tapping. In fact, when I've told friends I know that I'm going to be interviewing a tapping expert, they often think it's someone doing tap dancing, but this is far beyond that. Let me tell you a little bit about Brad. At first, he has created over 750 videos on tapping, and it's all to help you feel better, do better, and live better. As a result, he has over 1 million followers. And I asked him before the show, I want to share this with you, Brad, why would you consider being on my program? Because I have nowhere near 1 million followers, and certainly I don't have 750 videos. And he said, if I can make a difference in one person's life, that will be all the best. That will make it worthwhile. And that really touched me, because today we're all about authenticity. I'm not sitting here in a fancy TV studio, and Brad is coming to you directly from his office. We're real people, and we're really here to help you. Brad has done all types of tapping for private and public groups, and his focus is to help you achieve greater success, health, and happiness. He's also a best-selling author and master teacher. He's the author of the best-selling children's book, The Wizard's Wish, and co-author of the bestseller, Freedom at Your Fingertips, and a featured expert in the film, The Tapping Solution, along with Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, Dr. Norman Shealy, and Dr. Bruce Lipton. He also is heard internationally on a number of radio stations on the internet, and today he's here with us and to help you. Welcome, Brad.
Thank you, Lynn. I'm happy to be here.
I am so glad you're here. You know, Brad, you have a story that's very special, and we're all about stories. So I'd like you to tell our guests how you started, how you got to where you are today. You weren't always an internationally recognized tapper. How did it all start?
How does a grown man find himself tapping on his face for a living? So
I have no idea.
I was actually an actor, and I had gotten my degree in drama. I traveled the world doing children's theater. Then I decided I'm going to Hollywood to become a movie star. And while I was there, I met a woman, fell in love, got married. And when she was pregnant with our first child, I thought, you know, maybe I should have a backup job. And so instead of getting a steady kind of job, I trained to become a hypnotherapist, because I'd always been fascinated with the power of the mind. Started doing that and going on for about 2.5 years. When our second child was on the way, I thought, you know what? This is really my calling. As much as I loved acting, doing personal development work and helping people overcome their blocks and becoming who they can be and achieving success, it just felt more of what I was here to do. Mm-hmm. So I looked at my wife and said, let's leave Los Angeles. Wow. And she was not happy with her job at that time. We figured, let's move up to Northern California, be closer to family to raise the kids. And I'll start my practice up there. And once in Northern California, through some other hypnotherapists, I heard about this tapping thing and this energy psychology conference in Las Vegas. And I went and took a 1-day training with Gary Craig, the founder of EFT. And I just fell in love with this process. And so little by little, I started introducing it into my hypnosis sessions. And then little by little, they became tapping sessions, still with a little bit of hypnosis at the end. So I still do some of that, but it was primarily about the tapping. And then YouTube came along, and I thought, hey, this is kind of cool. Wouldn't it be fun to have a tapping video to start their day with? And I'll call it Tap of the Morning. And that was all I ever intended to do. one YouTube video for people to start their day with. And then about 6 months later, I thought, well, you know, I should probably do a tapping video for people to end their day, and I'll call it Tap of the Evening. And then a couple months later, I had another idea, and then another idea, and then now it's over 750.
That is amazing. That is unbelievable. So what effect did you feel when you first started tapping, and how does it work?
Yeah, so tapping is, when it was created, it was based on acupuncture. So a psychologist named Roger Callahan was working with a woman with a lifelong water phobia. And with traditional therapy, he was able to help her somewhat, but still she was really uncomfortable around water, had been for 40 years. And he had been expanding his horizons. He was taking a course in acupressure and asked her, well, what's the physical sensation when you feel this fear? And she said, well, I get a knot in my stomach. And he said, let's try this. One of the meridian points for the stomach is right here under the eye. And he just tapped right under her eye. And she said, oh, it's gone. And he said, what's gone? She goes, the fear, and runs towards the swimming pool. He's running after her saying, wait, stop. She goes, it's okay. I know that I don't know how to swim, but she got down by the water and splashed water in her face with no ill effect, which she had never been able to do. And she was amazed. And Dr. Callahan said, well, isn't that interesting? And he started experimenting with different clients and found that for different issues, tap different points in different sequences. And within a year, he put himself out of business because all of his clients no longer, who'd been coming to him on a weekly basis, no longer felt they needed his help. So he started teaching this. And one of his first students was Gary Craig, who had been trained as an engineer at Stanford. And he was saying, okay, thinking like an engineer, throwing out what doesn't work, rather than trying to figure out which sequences of points to tap, let's just tap all 8 points from top to bottom. And he found he was getting the same great results. So the idea is, from acupuncture, is that for thousands of years in Chinese medicine, they've said there's this flow of energy along the body through these pathways called meridians. And when the energy is flowing naturally, we experience our natural state of health and well-being, physically and emotionally. And when this energy gets stuck, we don't feel so good. And we don't feel so good, we don't think so clearly, we don't make the best choices. Things can go downhill from there. So in traditional medicine, Chinese medicine, they would stick needles in these key points to stimulate that healthy flow of energy. And so we're just tapping that. And it clears out stress. So we have modern research showing that the tapping dramatically lowers cortisol, one of the many signs of stress. So when we get into a stressful situation, the amygdala fires off, we go into fight or flight, there's cortisol coursing through our body. And in this one study, the group that tapped, and they had control groups, the group that tapped, their cortisol levels dropped by an average of 24%, some as much as 50%. Wow. Yeah, the lab threw out the first batch of results because they said something must have gone wrong because that's not possible. Ran it again, it's like, oh, wow, that really is. So when you consider the fact that stress is the cause of most of our problems or aggravates many of our problems, then to have a simple tool without needing to take drugs that can lower our cortisol and lower our stress that quickly is a pretty cool thing to have in our toolbox.
Definitely. So would you advocate that people really should be tapping every day to make a change?
I actually do. I recommend tapping on a daily basis because to me it's energetic hygiene. We have physical hygiene. You know, most of us bathe on a daily basis. Most of us brush our teeth on a daily basis. We don't wait to look in the mirror and see stuff growing between our teeth and go, oh, maybe now I should brush my teeth. You know, we don't wait till the people around us are holding their nose and say, oh, maybe now I should take a shower. We just do it as a regular upkeep. This is the same kind of thing. It's because what happens is stress builds up. And the next thing you know, somebody looks at us cross-eyed and we're shouting at them. And everyone's like, whoa, where did that come from? Well, it's because all the stress has been building up. And on a daily basis to clear that out. The other thing is that when we're feeling stress, it limits our ability to think clearly. You know, we start to, our clever, creative thinking comes from our prefrontal cortex. When we're stressed out, it leaves the prefrontal cortex.
Really?
So in terms of being difference makers. The different ideas that we might have about how could I make a difference? Well, if we're in a place of stress, we're not thinking about that. We're thinking about how do I get through the day?
Mm-hmm.
So as we have ways of calming ourselves down and moving from surviving to thriving, we're in a place of actually, I'm doing well. How can I help other people do better? And we really open ourselves up to those opportunities.
Right. We're getting a little sound echo there. Could you just say that last part of what you just mentioned, Brad, one more time?
Yeah. So when we're doing regular tapping to clear our stress, we're able to think more clearly. We move from surviving to thriving, and then we're able to think about not just getting through the day, but how do I help other people? I'm doing well. How do I help other people do better?
That's true. Something that you do that's part of tapping is saying affirmations. And I'd like you to talk a little bit about why do you do affirmations in addition to the tapping? Because I've been to acupuncturists before and they just put needles in specific spots. We don't hear anything.
Right. So we could do the tapping on someone who's already in a place of stress and help them calm down. So many of the times that we're working with tapping, we're working with things that are not going on right in that moment. So we'll say things to bring up what the issue is. So in traditional EFT, you would talk about what's upsetting you. So for instance, if you're stressed out, you would say, even though I have all this stress, all this stress, all this stress. And that freaks some people out the first time they hear about EFT because they say, you're saying the negative. You're supposed to always think positive. Just say the positive. But what we resist persists. If we try to pretend that the stress isn't there, we are not able to deal with it. It's like if your dog poops on your living room carpet, you don't want to sit there and pretend that it's not there.
Exactly. You're acknowledging the stress. You're letting it.
You acknowledge it and you deal with it. But you don't just sit there and look at it. You clean it up. So that's what we're doing here. We're not just going, oh, I'm so stressed out. I'm so miserable. We're clearing out what's behind that stress. Now, some people will say with EFT, you should only speak of the negative because you're cleaning it up. But you can also say affirmations because what happens, affirmations are awesome. But the thing is that, our conscious mind is 5 to 10% of our mental ability, and the other, 90 to 95% is unconscious. So if we're trying to say things like, I'm awesome, and I really don't believe I'm awesome, then as I'm sitting there saying, I'm awesome, that's 5 to 10% of me saying I'm awesome, and the other 90 to 95% going, yeah, you're right. Who are you think you're kidding? So that's what's in our energy. So as we're tapping while I'm saying, hey, I'm awesome, if any of that negativity comes up, any of those arguments, we start to clear them out. Say, well, I'm not awesome because, oh, wait, that's not really true. Yeah, you know what? I kind of am awesome. We start to come to the truth because the truth is we are naturally, inherently awesome.
Wow. So would you say just in a short period of time every day, you can start clearing these blockages? Like you do about a 5 to 7 or 7 minute video. Is that all we need?
Yeah, most of my videos are between like 3 and 12 minutes. And any tapping you do is better than no tapping. If you just tap through a round once, to me, that's better than not doing anything at all.
That's great. We're going to do an exercise in a moment where we can all tap to make a bigger difference, or to realize that we do make a difference and we're going to be out there making a bigger difference. Brad is going to be directing the affirmations, but I'd also like anyone listening to type in any comments or questions they have. What are issues that you struggle with? Brad has so many videos out on YouTube, and we're going to be giving his website link and his free gifts at the end of the program so you can access them. But feel free to share your thoughts, and Roland will let me know if we have any comments to bring up. So for right now,
more videos coming all the time too. Shot 5 new videos yesterday.
Wow. I love these videos. I wanted to let you know, somewhere along the way, I heard of Brad Yates and I started watching these videos, and I just love them. And he has such a great sense of humor too. So you can just type in his name and put in a specific topic like Brad Yates -anxiety or whatever you want, or making a difference, and you will find videos on that topic. Oh, I think we have a comment before we start. I'm going to let Roland share this. Roland, would you like to speak up?
Just wanted to let you know that Sharon Smith is watching in YouTube.
Hey,
and
Sharon.
She says Brad's giving great information on EFT.
Thank you, Sharon. Thanks for making that comment. So this is really special because, you know, the people who know Brad, you know, you get to watch his videos and you may get to interact, but right now you definitely have a chance to interact with him live. So feel free to ask any question, as I said. We're going to now turn to Brad and he's going to lead us into an experience. So let's all get comfortable where we're seated and I'm going to turn it over to Brad. Here we go.
Cool. So real quick, with the tapping, we generally tap with 2 fingers, the fingertips of our dominant hand. And the first place we tap is on what we call the karate chop point. Just gently tap these points. And when we're tapping a point, it's generally 5 to 10 times. But as we go through and I'm saying different phrases, you might be tapping 20 times. It's okay. It's not an exact science of it has to be only 5 to 10 times. So on this first point, we state what the issue is. So if I was talking about stress, I would say, even though I have this stress, I choose to love and accept myself. And then I'd say that 3 times. The next point we'll tap is the eyebrow point. So it's right at the beginning of your eyebrow. And we would say, this stress.
This stress.
In the corner of the eye, this stress.
This stress.
Right under the middle of your eye, this stress.
This stress.
Right under your nose, this stress.
This stress.
Right under your lower lip, right above your chin, this stress.
This stress.
The next point is right here. If you feel your collarbones just about come together, there's a little U shape there. And the point is actually on one side or the other, but you can go ahead and make a fist and tap where the collarbones just about meet. This stress.
This stress.
Next point, about 4 inches below the armpit. It's right about bra strap level. I'm sure even guys can figure out where that is. Distress.
Distress.
And the last point is the top of the head. And so just using all of your fingertips, just tapping around a little circle around the crown of your head. This stress.
This stress.
Take a deep breath. And so I didn't do it before because it was just demonstration, but I would have the person check in with themselves and say, okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much stress do you feel? And then at the end of the round, we would check again. And it would say, oh, well, I went from an 8 down to a 6, or I went from an 8 down to a 0, because that sometimes happens. It might go from an 8 to a 9, because suddenly, while I'm focusing on it, I'm now aware of what I'm stressed about. Then I can tap, you know, it's like, oh, because I've got this big meeting coming up next week, and I'd forgotten how upset I was about that. Then we can say, I've got this meeting, and then we can bring it down because we know exactly what we're focusing on. So the tapping often works like peeling the layers of an onion, and we get greater clarity. And sometimes when we get greater clarity, it's like if we're cleaning our living room and it looks pretty clean, but while we're cleaning it, we move the sofa and we find there's dirty laundry under the sofa. Suddenly the process of cleaning has made it look dirtier, but now we can actually make it cleaner, which is what happens with the tapping. So what I'd like to do, so that's the basic form of EFT. So you can now go and use that when you're feeling stressed, but now we're gonna have some fun with it. So I'd like everyone to go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. And with your eyes closed, just following your breath through your body, just noticing what's going on in there. I want you to say, I make a difference.
I make a difference.
And just let that rattle around inside. And notice what thoughts or ideas come up around that. Notice what doubts come up. Notice what fears might come up about trying to go out and make a difference. Notice where you might feel some resistance anywhere in your body. Just allowing yourself to be aware of what's going on in there. Take another deep breath and open your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to take full responsibility for your own well-being, because while we're tapping, like I said, just peeling layers of the onion, and something may come up that triggers an emotion. That the tapping should relax you, but if you are dealing with some heavy emotional things right now, going through an extremely hard time, I'm going to suggest you might work with someone one-on-one or contact a therapist before going through the process. But it's a very safe process. It should be fine for, most people. So I'm going to say phrases. Lynn, if you'll be my echo voice, and then repeat back the phrase. And then everyone else just tap where we're tapping and then repeat what I say along with Lynn.
Great.
And here we go. Even though I sometimes limit the difference that I can make.
Even though I sometimes limit the difference I can make.
I choose to love and accept myself anyway.
I choose to love and accept myself anyway.
Even though I sometimes limit the difference I can make.
Even though I sometimes limit the difference I can make.
I choose to love and honor myself anyway.
I choose to love and honor myself anyway.
Even though I sometimes limit the difference I can make.
Even though I sometimes limit the difference I can make.
And maybe I even doubt.
And maybe I even doubt.
That I'm able to make any difference at all.
That I'm able to make any difference at all.
And even though I have these doubts about making a difference.
And even though I have these doubts about making a difference.
I choose to deeply and completely.
I choose to deeply and completely.
Love, honor, and accept myself.
Love, honor, and accept myself.
And maybe anyone else involved.
And maybe anyone else involved.
And maybe everybody on the planet.
And maybe everybody on the planet.
Because that would kind of make a difference.
Because that would kind of make a difference. Definitely.
All these limits to making a difference.
All these limits to making a difference.
All the ways I stop myself from making a bigger difference.
All the ways I stop myself from making a bigger difference.
All these fears and doubts that I don't make a difference.
All these fears and doubts that I don't make a difference.
All these fears and doubts that I can't make a difference.
All these fears and doubts that I can't make a difference.
And I choose to clear that out.
I choose to clear that out.
Because it's just a misunderstanding.
Because it's just a misunderstanding.
Just by being here on the planet.
Just by being here on the planet.
I make a difference.
I make a difference.
As Jane Goodall has said.
As Jane Goodall has said.
Everyone makes a difference.
Everyone makes a difference.
We just have to decide what kind of difference we want to make.
We just have to decide what kind of difference we want to make.
I choose to make a really positive difference.
I choose to make a really positive difference.
Sometimes I might do things.
Sometimes I might do things
that don't make such a positive difference.
That don't make such a positive difference.
Maybe it's the way I talk to people.
Maybe it's the way I talk to people.
Maybe it's the way I treat the environment.
Maybe it's the way I treat the environment.
Maybe it's the way I treat myself and my body.
Maybe it's the way I treat myself and my body.
And I don't do these things because I'm bad or stupid.
And I don't do these things because I'm bad or stupid.
But because I have old beliefs.
But because I have old beliefs.
And old programming.
And old programming.
That compels me to do these things.
That compels me to do these things.
And as I clear out stress.
And as I clear out stress.
And I clear out fear.
And I clear out fear.
I clear the need to do any of that harmful stuff.
I clear out the need to do any of that harmful stuff.
And I naturally feel more loving.
And I naturally feel more loving.
Towards myself and others.
Towards myself and others.
And when I'm feeling that way.
When I'm feeling that way.
I just naturally make a positive difference.
I just naturally make a positive difference.
The way I talk to others.
The way I talk to others.
Naturally makes a positive difference for them.
Naturally makes a positive difference for them.
And I choose to feel good about that.
And I choose to feel good about that.
Every day I have opportunities to make a positive difference.
Every day I have opportunities to make a positive difference.
I choose to have fun. I choose to have fun looking for those opportunities.
I choose to have fun looking for those opportunities.
I choose to have fun taking advantage of those opportunities.
I choose to have fun taking advantage of those opportunities.
I'm open to the possibility.
I'm open to the possibility.
That since everything is energy.
That since everything is energy.
Everyone is connected.
Everyone is connected.
So the tapping that I'm doing on myself right now.
So the tapping I'm doing on myself right now.
Doesn't just benefit me.
Doesn't just benefit me.
It benefits everyone.
It benefits everyone.
Clearing out my stress and limitations.
clearing out my stress and limitations,
is already making a positive difference in the world.
is already making a positive difference in the world.
And I'm allowing myself to feel really good about that right now.
And I'm allowing myself to feel really good about that now.
And the better I feel,
And the better I feel,
the more ideas I'll have
the more ideas I'll have
about how else I can make a positive difference
about how else I can make a positive difference.
as I set myself powerfully free
As I set myself powerfully free
in body, mind, and spirit.
in body, mind, and spirit.
And take a deep breath. And you can close your eyes and check in again and say, I make a difference. And notice what you feel. Notice what thoughts or ideas might come up. And obviously there's a lot of different ways we could have gone with that, because there are different things that might stop us, like a fear of being seen, a fear of putting ourselves out there, all kinds of different things. And those are all different things that you can tap on. And you can clear all of the reasons why you couldn't or shouldn't make a bigger positive difference in the world. And also clearing out any doubts that you do make a difference, because you can't help it.
Right.
If you're here on the planet, you're making some kind of difference, no matter what.
Exactly. People don't realize that. Well, Brad, I feel really good. I love whoever's watching to type in their comments of how they feel right now. I feel like I could go another round. You know, it's refreshing. And I wondered, how do you get the ideas of what to say? I have a strong feeling it's not all scripted, that you're getting it from a higher source.
Yeah, it's downloading, channeling. You know, I have, like, when I start a video, I might have one or two notes, or I may just have the title. Like with this, I had no idea what I was going to say. I just know, okay, we're going to tap on the idea of making a difference. And then I turn it over to source and go, okay. And I'm never let down. So it makes my job a whole lot easier.
That's so beautiful, because, you know, after I wrote a children's book, Dancing with Text, I realized that everything in life really comes down to our belief, faith, and our perseverance. And those are qualities that we all have within us, but they often need to be reassured. And so, you know, strengthened. So that's what I think is so wonderful about this, is that you're getting from a higher source the words to say. Just like when I do an interview, I don't have every word scripted in front of me. I have the essence, and then we have to go forward with the belief that we can do it.
And over time, we build up that trust and recognize it's there. You know, you said all those qualities. So my quick little thing is, I always think of tapping in terms of Michelangelo. So like with the David, who I get to see in 2 weeks.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm so excited. He's all over my office. I can even see him in the background.
Tell us about, take a moment to explain.
Yeah, because those qualities are already there inside of us. We have fears and doubts and programming that block that. As we clear those away, like Michelangelo said, I just chipped away the marble that didn't belong and revealed the masterpiece inside. So as we continue to tap away those fears and doubts, that natural self that is connected to source and is loving and feels good and healthy is there. So we just reveal it more and more.
Well, I love that. You know, we have just a few minutes left. Actually, 1 minute. It seems this time just flies. I was thinking, what can we? There's so much to say, but and you're going to get to go to. Is it Italy you're going to?
Yeah.
And all these places, and you know, it all started because Brad had a belief, his belief that he could do it, right?
Yeah.
And you did it, and you went forward from being in a totally different profession, and now being able to reach a worldwide audience. So I want to basically motivate and encourage all of you to listen again to what Brad has done for us. And we're going to turn now to Roland to check out his free gifts, because Brad is a very generous person. And if you wouldn't mind, oh, here we have a question. Roland, would you read that for us?
Yes. Aaron Avila has joined us and is watching, and he wants to know, basically, if he has an issue staying focused on any projects, any tapping point that will help me focus.
Yeah. And you can stay on one point if you like, but I have a video on focus, because what happens is distraction, I believe, is one of the ways we protect ourselves, because there's a part of us that's afraid of being focused. And if, part of us says, if I stay focused on this, I'm going to accomplish it, and then my life is going to change. And part of us really hates the idea of change. So now I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to say, there's no biological or chemical things about ADHD and things like that. There may be things like that go on that keep us from being focused, but a huge part of it also is part of us that has trouble staying focused. One, because of our programming, especially in the modern age, in the information age, we're not trained to be focused. But I think there's also a part of us that tries to protect us by getting distracted. So as we clear our fear of being focused, it's much easier for us to concentrate.
Thank you. That was a good point. Everything is, as Brad is saying, is mind, body, spirit, and it's all coming together. So what we're doing right now is working on our beliefs that can help us in everything, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's go now to what you're providing for our attendees, Brad. Can you tell us what are in your free gifts?
Yeah, so I've put a couple of things in there. There's an audio program called Tapping into Abundance, which is me taking several people through tapping rounds to clear what's stopping them from having the life they want. So as you go through and you tap along with it, you will either find that, wow, that's exactly my kind of stuff that's stopping me. Or while you're tapping along, even if the words don't resonate, you'll still be clearing out your own things. So you'll still get clearing as you go through it. There's also a workbook called the Michelangelo Process. That's a guide to how you can use tapping to become the person you most want to be, and clearing out what doesn't belong to reveal the masterpiece inside.
Great. So write down tapwithbrad.com/gifts. And then Roland, if you could turn to our next slide, if you want to learn more about Brad and all the different things he offers, we're going to take a look at his website, Tap with Brad. That's easy to remember, tapwithbrad.com, and you will learn even more about Brad. And I noticed there's a lot of links on there that give you more information. You can also go to YouTube. So before we close, I would like Brad to give us one last little juicy tidbit, his insight. Brad, what would you say you'd like people to remember from our program today? I
often like to, the last word I like to give is compelling or encouraging people to really learn to love yourself, because when you can do that, it's much easier to then share love with other people and be more loving towards others. And there's a part of us inside that does love ourselves. Even self-sabotage is just misguided self-love. And we're just trying to protect ourselves. And as we clear out the reasons why we couldn't or shouldn't take better care of ourselves, why we couldn't or shouldn't love ourselves more, we naturally allow that love that's inside, just like the David inside the marble, to be revealed. And it's, that will make a huge difference in the world. So thank you for being willing to do that.
Thank you, Brad. And what great words. Love yourself, something that we all can do. As Brad often signs his letters, you get onto his mailing list, he says, be magnificent, be awesome. That's really the person you are. And so as we conclude, I want you to check out our website if you haven't already, and go to the Our Show tab to look at our future programs. If you are watching this as a replay, you'll notice that you can watch a variety of different programs at differencemakersmedia.com as a replay and get all this valuable information from people who are all focused on making a difference. So once again, thank you, Brad. You are amazing. I am so glad you came here. I'm so honored. Many thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you, Roland.
It was great. And Roland, thank you. And to everyone watching, thank you for making a difference and being the awesome person you are. Go out, go forward, and have a great day. Bye-bye.